Hi, my name's Tash and I am a renovation consultant. I own my own business, which is a renovation consultancy business. And so we help clients basically improve their homes. We also help them with their interior design. So I am the owner and the creative director of my business, and my company is still quite young, and the interior design sector is quite competitive. So our unique selling point at South Place Studio is that we also offer interior design and renovation consultancy. So this means that we help our clients through what can be a really stressful renovation project. When you're renovating your home, it takes lots of time, it takes lots of money, and so we help our clients through the quite a stressful time of renovating their home. Our clients are usually very busy people, very career focused, and they don't have much time to dedicate to the renovation process. So this is where we come in and provide this service, which will really help them through this process, which can take a really long time. So one of my main roles is to meet with our potential clients and to design plans and come up with ideas to improve their homes, and also to be able to go through the process with them and carry out the design, get the correct people involved, the contractors, the tradespeople, to be able to bring that design to life. We also have to make sure we source the correct products, the correct materials, and be able to get those materials and products to site for the contractors when they need them. You'll often find me on building sites, meeting with contractors, meeting with clients, and making sure that the design is followed and that the project will turn out as the client imagined it. I'll tell you a bit about what attracted me to this role. I started off as a graphic designer. I've worked in Cape Town, South Africa as a graphic designer. I've worked here in London as well. And after about 18 to 20 years in graphic design, I actually built my own house, and I found it so interesting and I learned so much that I decided that I was up for a career change. And so I retrained, I did some courses, I started my blog, and that is how my business came about. I've always been a creative person, so I've always been attracted to roles and work that you can be creative in. I find I need an outlet for my creativity every day, and I just think that a less creative role really wouldn't have suited me. And so ever since I left college, at the high school even, I knew that I wanted to be doing something creative with my life. Okay, so let's talk about the pathways into this career. As I mentioned, I started in graphic design, but if you want to go straight into interior design, there are of course various courses you can take. There are diploma courses. You can go the traditional route through university or colleges. But I didn't take the traditional route, so as I said, I started off as something else completely and retrained and then started my business. And I would say that having the traditional route behind you is of course a good thing, but you also need to have practical experience. So I would say take courses in the programs that you will be using each and every day to design. For example, SketchUp, AutoCAD, Photoshop, InDesign. Practical working experiences in these programs will be so valuable on your CV, and they will really make you stand out from someone who has just completed a college or university course. If you can, an apprenticeship is always good to be able to get into. Again, practical advice of how a project is run from start to finish, all the elements involved of how a project is run. There are hundreds of details and little things you need to know about how a project goes from start to finish, and you can really only learn that by doing. So I would say if you can get into somewhere, get some advice from someone who's in the industry, or be able to get some time in a studio or get an apprenticeship, that will really help you. I'd like to talk a little bit about my background. I grew up in Cape Town, South Africa. At the time I was a child, there was an apartheid system there, which meant we were all segregated by the colour of our skin. So that applied to schools. If you were a certain colour, you couldn't mix. You had to go to your allocated school. You were segregated by area, kind of where you lived. So basically, the paler your skin, the more benefits and the best of the country that you were offered. So I was, a brown woman, a person of color, growing up in this situation, and I was lucky because I had parents who they knew the importance of education, and they made sure that we we had the education that we needed. But at the same time, jobs like interior design or renovation consultant or architect, they didn't feel accessible to people like me. And we just didn't see people who looked like us in those roles. We were generally in the kind of what they call the kind of the lower roles. And so I just wanted to mention that, because you can do what you want to do. If you don't have to be able to go to an expensive university. There are other ways that you can get into the career you want to get into, which is what I've done. I started off with graphic design. I worked in that for many years, and I decided that I wanted to do something else. And just by thinking it through, starting certain things, I was able to pivot my way into something that I wanted to be involved in, that I thought I would be good at. And I started my own business. And I just wanted to say that you can take your background, you can take the positives and negatives from it, but that doesn't have to define where you end up. So you don't always have to take the traditional path. You can change into something else that you think you'll be more happy in. It's not impossible. You can pivot, you can retrain, you can get experience in something else, and you can grow and you can make those changes to get to that point that you want to be at. So let's talk about the key qualities that employers will be looking for in a creative role. So let's talk about interior design. So obviously, first off, you have to have creativity, you have to be really interested in it, have a feel for it. It's something you really have to want to do, like most creative roles, in my opinion. Some of the other things that come up, I think when people think of interior designers or designers, they think of just kind of sketching and drawing all day. But there's so much more involved. You have to be a good problem solver. Any creative role, you have to be a good problem solver, because that is what it is. You have to, there is a problem, you have to think about an invention, an answer, a solution to that problem. So let's say in interior design, for example, there is a problem. The client finds that his house is not big enough for his family. They're just about to have a new baby. The layout is not working. They don't have enough bedrooms. So you have to solve that problem by figuring out how you will take the house that they have, or where you will add space, how you will add space, how it will function, how you will solve the problem of getting planning permission to create that space. So problem solving is a big part of a creative role. Another one in interior design particularly, I think, is organization. There are so many elements to bringing a house from one point of the beginning the project to completion. There are so many levels of details, from the color of the door handles to the screws that will go into the hinges. It is that in depth, and so you have to be organized. You have to be able to plan the process. When does the project start? How long will it take? When does the client want to move in? When will the builders start? When will the builders need the materials? You have to plan for the materials to be there by the time the builders need them. So there are so many little details involved, and if you are not organized, you definitely will drown in the amount of detail that needs to happen to bring a project to completion. Another key quality that you have to have is you have to be good at building relationships with people, because there are so many different people involved in this process of home renovation. So you have to be able to have a good relationship with your client. You have to be able to have a good relationship with the contractor and the tradespeople, because they are the people that you need them on your side to be able to give the client a beautiful project at the end, and to be able to bring the project in on time. So being able to relate to people and to be able to understand them and what their worries and their concerns are is so important, because you will be dealing with so many different people every day. So you really have to have good people skills, and you have to know how to deal with people and potential issues that may come up, and how to resolve them. Okay, so let me describe a typical week to you. So as I mentioned, it's my own business, so I wear so many hats. There are so many things I need to do and to stay on top of. So every week is really varied. My week could be a combination of so many things. So usually every week I'll spend some time on kind of directing the company and growing a self-paced studio. And so this would involve kind of where to take the brand, how I want it to be perceived, and that could be trying to get into contact with publications to try and get press coverage. It would be creating content for the blog, for the Instagram account, to constantly give people something to look at, to show them what we do, to show them our work. I could be on a shoot with a brand. We do brand collaborations, so I would style, set up, and would photograph the shoot, and those photos would go in the press or on Instagram. And then a lot of my time is also spent actually just sitting at my laptop and doing the actual design for the clients. So designing the floor plans to present to them, the mood boards, creating 3D models so that they can see what the finished house would look like, and give them a visual so that they can imagine their new space. I would also meet with new clients, any new inquiries we had. We'd set up meetings on Zoom or in their home to discuss what's possible with their home and how we can help them. Regular days also involve taking many calls from the various contractors or tradespeople on site. They may have questions about the design, that we need to clarify, or they might need my input on something. So we'd either do a call, we do regular site meetings, so I'm quite regularly on building sites, meeting the clients and meeting the contractors, so we can discuss the progress, and we can discuss if any issues come up, how to resolve them, and how to come up with solutions to fix any issues that may arise. A lot of my time is also spent on sourcing, so we need to find the correct materials for a project, like flooring, tiles, taps, door handles, furniture. So much time is spent finding the right products to bring together for the client, so that they get the finish and the product that they are paying us for. So what advice would I give my 16-year-old self? I would say not to procrastinate. I feel like I spent too long waiting to set up my business. I feel like I should have done it about 5 to 10 years before I did it. And I think I would have been a lot further along by now. So I would say to my 17-year-old self to just do, to practically just do, to get experience, to learn programs, to just keep learning and keep growing, because when you get to a certain time or certain age in your life, sometimes you do look back and think, I should have done that sooner. What I would also say to my younger self is not to worry too much about what other people think of you. As I mentioned, I grew up in this quite strange situation where what you looked like and the colour of your skin determined what you should be or where you should end up in your life. And if I could just tell myself not to worry about that so much, and not to worry too much about what others thought, and to just do what you think you need to do to get to where you want to be. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that this was helpful for you if you're considering a creative career, whether that be in interior design or in graphic design or any other creative industry. It's a really enjoyable line of work to be in. I've enjoyed my time in both graphic design, and I'm thoroughly enjoying now having my own business in interiors and in home renovation. And I really hope this gives you some insight into that. Thank you.